Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Welcome to the Taz Effect, daily news in a way you didn't know you could use. If you can tell, background is a little different. I am happy. I am ecstatic to announce that this Wednesday on Rouse High Exhausted on GCPR, we will be hosting Rouse High Santathon for our good sis, Miss Hot Mess Jess. And if you can't make the event, but you do want to help just make it to her uncle's funeral. Uh, the payables are available on the screen on YouTube. They're available over there. Um, so yes, mark your calendars now, darlings. Mark your calendars now. And keep in mind, for this Santathon, I've wrangled some of your favorite gents from the Villains Guild, and everybody will have their own Santa persona, and they're going to stay in character for the entirety of the Santathon to keep you entertained. You can request stories, you can request songs, but keep in mind you've got to do it within their Santa persona. And Ms. Hot Mess Jess herself will also be joining us, so it's going to be a rocking good time. Oh, you have a Santa suit? You want to put a persona together and join us too? You can come along. Guess that we're raising money for Hot Mess Jess. We are determined to get her to her beloved uncle's funeral, who unfortunately recently passed away. But you know, the devil may work hard, but Taz works faster. Okay? Okay. So let's get into it. If you missed it, today Trump has changed his tune. Sorta, kinda, little bit. He's trying to ride the wave and thinking that this will save face for him. Now he's saying, Republicans, go ahead, vote in favor of releasing the Epstein slash Maxwell files. Okay. Okay. Um, because the vote tentatively is scheduled to happen tomorrow. We'll see how well that goes, because we know Grinder Mike likes to reschedule things at the last minute. And there are some people who were like, well, since he told Pam Bondi to open an investigation, they won't be able to release the files. There are a few things that people are missing. Number one, the argument from MAGA up till now has been, well, why didn't Biden release the files? Let's take a trip back down memory lane. During the Biden administration, during the first Trump administration, that's when Epstein and Maxwell were arrested. So the files legitimately could not be released then. Then Epstein himself, and then Maxwell was on trial. So you cannot release the information to the public then. The defense had the files, DOJ had the files, okay? Through the Biden administration, the Maxwell trial was wrapping up and she was being sentenced, still could not release them. This is why the question was posed to Trump on the last race to POTUS Mountain. This is why. Now, true, during an active open investigation, you don't want to release files because you're giving the other side a way to craft a defense and cover up things along the way. Absolutely. But here's the kicker. Trump requested that Pam Bondi, if you all remember from last week here on the Taz Effect, go after and investigate essentially political rivals, Democrats, people that are widely known to be associated with the Democratic Party. Who is not on that investigation list? Trump. And even with an open investigation going within the DOJ, you can release files and information on a limited basis. Regardless of what happens tomorrow, the limited basis includes redacting victims' names, addresses, etc. Since Trump is not listed as being a part of the investigation, anything including him that's not pertinent to the prosecution of others can be released. This isn't a gotcha. And I keep telling you all that the GOP is the one working the hardest against Trump and still trying to save face for their voting base. and for the sake of their networking. Because yes, the Democrats on the House Oversight Committee released 3 emails last week. Three. Three. Not with any context, not with, they weren't even really bombshell emails that they released. The 23,000 other emails that were released into the public sphere were released by the GOP. Now, they were poorly released. The file folders that they have them in don't make any sense. It's missing a lot of context, a lot of nuance, but we don't really know how it was released to them. So it's the GOP that's predominantly done this to him. And let's also look into the fact that Marjorie Taylor Greene finally is able to see the writing on the wall, and she's making her apology tours. Yes, she's apologizing for participating in toxic politics. Her phrasing, not mine. I'm just quoting old Slewfoot, as Thomas Bishop would say. And she's coming out saying that, yeah, what's in these files is incredibly damning to Trump. And he knows that it is damning. She's also trying to distance herself. And her family is legitimately being affected by the shenanigans that he has going on. Hey, darling, I was just telling everybody about the event. Because she's talked about how her children's healthcare costs are going to go up, etc. But let's also remember, because remember, Tazzy Farms remembers, so you're going to remember too, okay? During the whole Gates 8 situation, you know, when it first came out, well, not first came out, when it blew up regarding Gates plausibly being a pedophile, Marjorie Taylor Greene was like, he's the good man, Savannah, I must stick beside him. Then people started pissing off Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she took to Twitter. Yes, I know what its adoptive daddy calls it. I'm calling it what is the biological father named it. Okay, we're good. And she said, you know what? Y'all keep messing with me. I will expose all of your sex crimes, GOP. And people kind of swept it under the rug because they're like, this is the Jewish space laser person. But what do we always say? A clock is right how many times a day, class? 2. Absolutely 2. Marjorie Taylor Greene is very vindictive. The worst thing that could have happened, was her friendship with Lauren Boebert separating because of Trump. If you look at the timeline, and Trump allowing this woman to be one of his biggest cheerleaders, his biggest supporters, and him rewarding her with nothing. She has been one of the biggest, most vocal when it comes to MAGA and making excuses for Trump. He didn't give her a nomination. He didn't appoint her to anything. He pretty much just acted as if she didn't exist. And then when it came down to the Epstein/Maxwell files, and I'm going to keep saying it like that because they go hand in hand, he should have sat down and had a conversation with her. When he finally decided to talk to her, he's calling her, Lauren Boebert, Nancy Mace, and Todd Blanche of the DOJ into the Situation Room, not the Oval, the Situation Room, to yell at them and threaten them. And remember, I told y'all that people within Trump's sphere, they all immediately from the time that they get into his sphere start keeping and collecting evidence, voicemails, text messages, voice notes, emails, call logs. They literally start having entire hard drives dedicated to this. This was confirmed in last year's New York fraud trial. This was also confirmed by books by Mark Meadows, Cohen's testimony, his books, his podcast, his lives that he tends to do on TikTok and Substack and things like that. They know that getting into bed with Trump leads to criminality. And they're like, I'm here for a good time, not for jail time. So they want to make sure that they have a get out of jail free card plus some backups. Okay, they're not even trying to have bail money. And also, while everybody, rightfully so, is focused on the Epstein/Maxwell files, there are some sleeper cells that people aren't paying attention to. Y'all remember the Fulton felons, right? Those that were his co-conspirators regarding the Fulton County, Georgia case. Three, three already from jump upon their indictments went ahead and said, yes, I'm guilty. I'm going to take the plea and I'm going to help you. I am going to start turning over everything that we have. I'm going to tell you about the criminality, who else was around him, who helped, how they became friends, how they became into spheres. Also, I still see people having the conversation, and it's kind of resurfaced because of the emails where Epstein alludes to him waiting for marching orders, and people are like, well, who was really in control? Ding, 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 ding. I'm really tired of telling y'all this, but I guess I'm gonna have to keep telling it till it sinks in, okay? Until it seeps into your smarticle particles, okay? Ghislaine Maxwell. Okay. You all think that the timeline was that Trump met Epstein and then Epstein introduced him to Ghislaine Maxwell, right? Right? You're wrong. You're wrong. Trump and Ghislaine Maxwell had known each other for quite a while before Jeffrey Epstein came into the picture. Jeffrey Epstein was a substitute math teacher. I know they like to say, the brilliant financier. He wasn't being paid for financing. He was being paid to be a creep and to be a dating coach and a pseudo therapist. But the people that he was able to get in the rooms with and hobnob and shake hands with was because of Ghislaine Maxwell. Let me once again remind you all, Ghislaine Maxwell, billionaire with a B, like a bubba, international, global, around the world, socialite, whose father, the man who baby gravy made her, was also an intimate assaulter of underage individuals. So please stop saying, I'm wondering who he. This is why everything he did, when you look at the emails, when you hear people talking about the emails, he can talk to Wolf, he can talk to Foster, he can talk to all of these people. And who does he immediately keep telling information to? Maxwell. He tells her everything. He checks back in with her. He can't seem to make a move without her. How many times have you heard anybody really say Ghislaine Maxwell's name? When they do, they try to put her in a position of victimhood, or they always have something nice to say about her. They're afraid of the Don, and the Don is Ghislaine. Ghislaine herself. Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Ghislaine is a cuckoo conspiracy theorist that has a distinct aversion to the truth. Remember, I told y'all in the previous episode of the Taz Effect that when they came to arrest her, she bought a whole nother house, moved states, wrapped her phone in aluminum foil because in her cuckoo mind, because money does not equate to intelligence, they wouldn't be able to track her. She was lying to them with evidence right there in her face. Before she was convicted, there was a secondary case for her lying. And they're like, you know what? We already got her on 20 years. We can just shelve this. The fact that she's lied again, that can come back to bite her in her tuchus. She is getting the treatment that people used to put in movies regarding mafia bosses, mafia heads. There are multiple people, most notably the current sitting POTUS, that's afraid. Not so much the files that the DOJ has, need y'all to pay attention, but what Ghislaine may have somewhere. Because she had a little bit to say about the email release, because I don't think she realized how much Jeffrey was emailing other people and the fact that the estate had it. And I don't believe that she thought that Mark Epstein would release it. She should have figured that out when Mark was allowing the Epstein estate to pay victims for the harm that was incurred upon them by his brother Jeffrey. Yeah, that happened. And also, over the years, are you all aware? Trump may not pay contractors. He may not properly pay employees, but he has paid hundreds of millions to his victims. Now, I don't know about you, but at 48 years old, the gossip mill has taken a few rounds on your girl. Okay, I'm pretty sure right now there is somebody sitting on the phone or tippity tapping something out, gossiping about me right now. Probably gossiping about you too. Okay, they might be gossiping about me and you together. Um, there's some things, not gonna lie, I get very compelled to clear up. Because what you're not gonna play with is my reputation and my integrity. You talk about it and everything else. And if you talk about my kids or my man, we got some problems. Okay. I'm sinking the ship like it's Titanic. And I'm not even gonna let you touch the door, let alone pretend like you can put half your body on it. Okay. Okay. But other things, I'm not getting mad about. I'm definitely not gonna pay somebody to shut up about. If that's what you believe and you want to run with it, and it sounds completely idiotic to be attached to me, do what you do, homie. Let's see how far it goes. Heck, a few years ago, somebody tried to create, well, not tried to, they did create a whole hate page dedicated to me. I think they got 25 people to follow it. They ended up put up 2 or 3 videos and then it was dead in the water because it was ridiculous. Never crossed my mind to pay anybody not to follow it or to take it down. Only the guilty want to do something like that. And Trump's biggest issue was he never should have thrown his hat into politics. He knew that he aligned himself with dirty politics and dirty politicians well back in his strictly New York days. He knew how dirty politics could get. And he already had a few secrets seeping out when he was on reality TV. That's when he started pulling back. And he realized even that did not put him in the rooms next to the people that he had been clamoring his entire life to be in those rooms with. Hmm. Hmm. So yeah, it's not some great conspiracy theory. I need y'all to get it into your head that women can be the villain of the story. How do y'all know about Harley Quinn and love her so much and still can't see that women can just be evil? Like evil. Yeah, you're right, Nana J. He did have to do it for the bragging rights. But like, are you okay? Are you okay? And speaking of women being the villain, can y'all stop? Can you please stop? And if this doesn't apply to you, you better let it fly. The DoorDash girl. Stop still trying to victimize her. The man in the situation is the victim. Period, point blank, case closed. I have the video, the full article posted on TikTok. I will put it up on YouTube by the time once we close here. The article came out. There was ring footage. The ring footage confirmed that she opened the door. She did. And people like, well, he's still a flasher. What flasher is flashing you through a closed door and the door ain't glass? She broke the law. Now she's in jail facing a couple E-class felonies. Yeah, she was arrested. And people are still trying to defend her. First of all, like I told y'all before, her whole demeanor, the original video, it screamed, I'm going to use this to try to go viral. Y'all need to stop. And too many people are putting their situations into this situation, making it seem like it's so much more egregious than what it was. And it also was confirmed the incident occurred on October 12th, 2025. She didn't go to the police until October 14th, 2025. And even in that initial report, when the police officer wrote it up, she admitted she opened the door and they confirmed it with ring camera footage. She admitted she did all of these things, like sister girl. The more I showed them the footage and they're doing nothing. Oh, they're doing something. They arrested you. That's what they did. And for once, yay, cops, they did their job. They got their big one with this one. But I need y'all to stop because I saw multiple hot takes and people talking about them being survivors of assault and how they're, this wasn't you. Pudding Pop. And as a survivor myself, I'm saying this with love, but I'm gonna hold your hand with my dog's paw. This wasn't you. This was not your situation. You cannot make other situations more egregious and you If you didn't get justice, try to take it out on somebody else, and you think that that's going to get you justice. Locking up innocent people is not justice. Like, stop. If she was not a conventionally attractive white woman, y'all still wouldn't have had this vigor. If the roles would have been reversed, you wouldn't be doing this. You have to stop. And to my ladies and to my femme presenting individuals, we cannot scream and holler and try to fight for equality when you're doing this. No, we have to realize that some of our sisters are the villains. We have to accept as a society as a whole that men, that boys, that male presenting individuals can be the victim. Full stop. No notes. Like, you have to get that through your skull. Soon as y'all hear man, you automatically think that he had to be up to something. I think some of y'all need to revisit your group chats with your homegirls. Women are nasty. I think some of y'all need to go to a male strip review and see just how out of pocket women can get. Yeah, I got one of those too, Storm. Ugh. But let's be real. Let's be real. People are like, well, these are the same things folks have said about abusers for years, trying to cover for them. Like, it wasn't intentional. It wasn't that. This man did nothing. First of all, the amount of people who believed that this was sexual assault when he was passed out on the couch, that she admitted he was sleeping. But let me explain something to you. Maybe I'm the dumb one. Maybe I'm having a stroke in real time, just a real slow stroke. Okay, maybe, possibly. I don't know. How is a intoxicated, unconscious person assaulting anyone? Okay. Um, supposed to be on a call with him and one other person today anyway. Um, so yeah. Now moving on to other news that's happening. We have had an interim FEMA director for the past 6 months because, Trump didn't run through the proper protocols for anybody. So he's just trying to stick in who he can where he is, because remember, there were no proper background checks. He's trying to fast track things. And there still are a lot of positions this far into this term that have not been filled. Well, another one that's coming up empty is this one. FEMA chief steps down as Trump administration prepared to oust him. Visibility restricted. Okay, this is an 18 and over live, and I don't know how it's going to be restricted for the news, but okay. The embattled acting chief of the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, will step down after hurricane season following months of public controversy and internal frustration. David Richardson submitted a resignation letter on Monday to the Department of Homeland Security, which oversees FEMA, giving 2 weeks' notice, the department told CNN. However, plans were already in the works at the agency to oust him from the role, 3 sources told CNN. Now, mind you, he wasn't really liked over at FEMA, okay, to a little scuttlebutt that's been circulating around, all right? He came in with a bunch of bravado, like, you know what, I'm in charge. It got to go through me, recognize my power. Bruh, it's a position. It is your job. It is not that serious. I understand being proud to climb the ladder, but bruh, like, you're former military. This is what's giving your undercarriage a chub? Oh, man. Richardson, a loyalist to Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. She ain't let you move in on the base with you. Is that what it is? Did y'all break up? Is that why they were trying to fire you? let me not speculate. Let me not speculate. Was tapped to lead FEMA, even though he lacked experience in disaster management. Well, everybody in this administration lacks experience, expertise, education, critical thinking, common knowledge, working smarticle particles, ethics, proper hygiene, the ability to be monogamous, proper tax records. You know, I could go on all day. I really could. Hold on. That's that chick. I mean, but his time in charge has been punctuated by some eyebrow raising moments, like in a June meeting in which he told staff he was unaware the U.S. has a hurricane season, a comment DHS later insisted was a joke. It wasn't a joke. It wasn't a joke. The education secretary thought AI was A1 sauce. Okay? Mm-hmm. 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 The health secretary thought Tylenol caused the tism. All right. And he had a brainworm that he said in open court during his divorce proceedings that caused him to cheat. So no, it wasn't a joke. The only joke is the administration. He didn't know. He didn't know. He didn't know. But y'all love firing people because y'all fired the one guy over at the IRS that was, had funny Fridays trying to boost morale. And y'all like, well, you're not qualified. You knew he wasn't qualified when you put him in a position, but okay. Yeah, the A1 sauce. A friend of mine went to Applebee's last night, got a steak, and asked them if they had Linda McMahon sauce. Yes, it's the head worm in charge's fault, Justina. A FEMA official with knowledge of the decision said Karen Evans, of course it would be somebody named Karen, a close Trump administration ally at DHS and FEMA's newly appointed chief of staff, will replace Richardson. A DHS spokesperson later said in a statement that Evans will start in her new role on December 1st. How much I want to bet that Karen is the one who snitched, that was like, we should fire him. Well, who we gonna get to replace him? I mean, I'll do it for a little bit, like a little favor. It's giving that superintendent controversy from a couple of weeks ago, where the person who kept being called in to be the interim when they needed to replace a superintendent became interim again. Like, brother, not gonna make you the full-time superintendent. You called ICE on this man to try to take the job, and they still not giving it to you. Like, and you're white. You're what they will hire a turtle above you. What you do? How are you messing up all the privilege that your ancestors fought to provide for you? I really, you know what breaks my heart to see white folks just messing up, just setting fire to their privilege. Okay, you can give me one scoop of privilege. I promise you. I promise you it won't be wasted. Okay, that how Vince got Linda to marry him? Probably. The spokesperson said the agencies thanked Richardson for his dedicated service and wish him continued success in his return to the private sector. He was in the military before this. Richardson's leadership faced its toughest test in July when catastrophic floods devastated Texas and killed more than 130 people. As the crisis unfolded, Richardson was on vacation and unreachable for hours. He later told lawmakers he spent the entire trip in his truck, glued to his phone, coordinating the response. What? You know what? Everybody seems to be on vacation, okay? Either on vacation, buying new jets, or like Kashyap Patel is doing, taking much needed emergency personnel from the FBI and having them guard his country's single girlfriend that nobody heard of until then. Nobody heard of. But what was Doge for? Cutting costs, cutting down on the fraudulent spending, breaking down the bureaucracy. I think one of us doesn't understand definitions, especially regarding those words, and I don't believe that it's me that is confused. Nope. Just everybody on vacation. I ain't never seen people get so many vacation days in a new job. They sell that on Amazon. Or do I got to go to Costco and pick that up? Mm, Let me know. Yet Richardson was publicly silent and absent from the flood zone, surfacing more than a week later for an unannounced visit to Texas, days after President Donald Trump and Nome toured the area. He arrived in a straw hat and cowboy boots, notably lacking any FEMA insignia, a striking departure from the typical image of agency's leaders in the front lines of a crisis. I don't know if you've ever lived through a flood, if you've ever been through it to an area that has been flooded, but that's just, just But a lot of his absenteeism has been overshadowed by the ridiculousness that is Christy Nome. But if the head of the entire department is Christy Nome and engaging in the level of shenanigans that she has engaged with, and no, I'm not making excuses, but what else do you expect? Now, from one dumb part of the administration to another. Jesus, take the wheel and beat the hell out of RFK Jr. with it. RFK Jr. says new dietary guidelines coming soon. We're ending the war on saturated fats. Who took the time to explain to him what saturated fats is? Because I'm pretty sure, I'm going out on a limb here, he created a whole new definition of saturated fats in his head. And who in his family is finally going to revoke his internet access? Somebody needs to drop Papa off at the nursing home. You know what? I thought it was bad when the Kennedy family was just like putting people through lobotomies. I now see why they did. Kennedy family. Hey, you don't really know me, but my mom was a big fan of Camelot. Okay, hey, that should count for something. Yeah. Um, although I'm not a part of the delusional crew that thinks Jackie Kennedy Onassis was gorgeous. She had a decent wardrobe for the time. Not gorgeous. Um, but I digress. Don't fight me in the comments. Could y'all just revive that little tradition one more again just for one person? Because I think the brainworms had babies. Okay. And I think they just chomping away at a little bit of gray matter that is left betwixt his ears and behind his eyes. I really do, because I don't think he has smarticle particles, let alone any that are working. I could be wrong because I'm not a doctor and I don't play one on TV, but that is my assessment from afar. So if y'all could do that, that would be great. That would be great. And you don't even have to take him to a professional to perform the lobotomy. I can walk you through some ancient Egyptian practices. Now, these are the practices used by morticians in order to remove the brain, but pish posh, it'll work. Okay, you just need a really, really long wire with a hook and access to his nostrils. I guess you could give him some painkillers, but he used, admittedly, unprovoked, admittedly, at that, to using heroin to be able to focus in class. So I think we know what we could use to get him to lay still. I'm just saying. It's an idea. I'm just spitballing here. Allegedly. Allegedly. She had a huge forehead and her eyes were damn near on the sides of her eyes. She did. She did. She did. She did. But Health and Human Services, HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said Monday that new dietary guidelines are expected to be released next month and will end the war on saturated fats. There was a war on saturated fats? Hmm. Palestine and Gaza, Sudan, Congo, us trying to start stuff with Venezuela. There's war on education. There's a one-sided war on woke from MAGA. I don't recall the war on saturated fats. I must have missed it. I didn't give I didn't get that one. Then give him some Tylenol and true painkiller. Speaking at the Food Allergy Fund Leadership Forum, Kennedy discussed the actions that the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, has taken under his leadership, including incentivizing a reduction in petroleum-based food dyes and increasing oversight into infant formula. Okay. We're ending the war on saturated fats in this country. Once again, where is this war? Can I buy tickets to watch it? Or it's not that type of war? Like, is this like War of Roses type of thing? Like, is somebody gonna die at the end? Like, is there a staircase scene in the? I need to know. Okay, so we're going to publish dietary guidelines that are going to stress the importance of protein and saturated fats. We done had the food pyramid for a while. You even made us learn about it in school. You want to know one thing we never did? Adhere to it. You can put all the guidelines out that you want to. Okay, what is cheap and tasty is what we're going to eat. And the way y'all keep stressing us out, we might consume all of the fats. Saturated, unsaturated, slightly saturated, a little bit saturated, saturated, dusted. Okay, like what the hell? What the? And those will come out, I think, next month. What you mean you think? You in charge. You think, okay. But you don't even read the briefings. You didn't even talk to the people, the doctors and the scientists that work for you essentially now. So how'd you come up with this? Was it another late night insomnia riddled stroll down conspiracy lane? Like, And I think that will really revolutionize the food system in the country, the food culture in this country, Kennedy said. Kennedy, you want to help the people? Here's a great way that you can help us people. Okay? Okay, Bobby J. Tell us what you eat so we don't eat that. That would be helpful. Tell us what you eat, exactly how you eat it, and where you get it from so we can avoid that, because whatever is wrong with you, we don't want it wrong with us. Okay, because you look like a character yet to be unlocked in a Men in Black series. And you sound like you're the only adult ever with shaken baby syndrome. So do that. That will help us. Just tell us what you're eating so we don't. Thank you in advance. The Hill sister company, News Nation, reported last month that Kennedy planned to introduce a new dietary guidelines recommending more consumption of butter, cheese, milk, and red meat. Have you met anybody that lives in the United States? If we eat any more, we will turn into butter, cheese, and red meat. We found ways to put cheese on everything, slide red meat through everything. There are people in the Midwest that love red meat so much that they're eating it raw. Okay, they can't even wait to cook it, and they eat it. And butter. Have you seen? First of all, we don't have to switch up a little bit to margarine. Okay, some people have even taken back to churning butter themselves. I'm not doing that. Okay. You Xena Warrior Princess Armed Heifers, thank you. You got it. I'll buy some from you, but I can't make the butter myself. But we put butter on everything. Okay. We dip things in, but for no reason. There was even a couple people on TikTok on camera, on purpose, eating butter. What you mean? Increasing how? With what money? With what money? And the land of steak, which is red meat, Bobby J, and potatoes. Because what do you put on the potato before you put anything else on? Butter. Then you put the cheese on. What the every day. When I'm prepared to do the news, I'm like, we're going to get through the news. We're going to get through the news, and I'm not going to have a rant. I'm not going to have a rant. And then pop, somebody from the administration pops up with. This goes against current thinking that high consumption of saturated fats raises levels of bad cholesterol and increases the risk of heart disease. Kennedy ascribes to the so called carnivore diet, which calls for eating only meat, poultry, eggs, seafood, fish, dairy products, and water. Oh, you mean the original Atkins diet? The original Atkins diet. Now, in one of my very first jobs as a teenager, right? I worked at a grocery store. Our manager, his wife, was on that. And how we found out is because one time he came through my line, he was getting off work and just had all these steaks, all this meat. And I'm like, y'all having a cookout? He's like, no, this is for my wife. This is her diet. And I'm like, how's she supposed to lose weight eating this? Okay. He's like, I don't know. But I love her and she's starting to smell like the butcher shop. Like, because eventually, you know, what you eat, if you consume large amounts of it, starts seeping out your pores. And give this some of y'all out there, you know, I'm talking about, still ascribe to bath days, and sometimes the bath day is once a month. So we just are most of the people in this administration stuck in the 80s? I mean, we let Richard Simmons get away with being stuck in the 80s, but that was Richard Simmons, okay? He was a treasure. He was a darling, okay? Um, but see, maybe that was our mistake. Maybe that was our mistake. We shouldn't let anybody just be stuck in a decade. Just describing his own diet earlier this year, Kennedy said, "It's mainly meat and then fermented, anything fermented." Sweetheart, you are fermented. And that also explains the stupid stuff that his wife says, especially what she said on The View. Like she's trying to take up for her husband. Girl, you went from mistress to wife. Strike number one. Strike number two. You know that man is stupid. You keep letting him out in public and talk to the public. Did y'all learn nothing from Pearl Necklace Nancy Reagan? Okay? When Pop Pop gets to a certain age, okay, put him in the back room. Black folks know about this, okay? We either got a relative upstairs in a room that you don't really see. You hear them go to the bathroom, you hear them take a shower. If somebody is dedicated, or two or three people are dedicated to take them to food, or are they in the back room? Because we know we can't really let them out willy-nilly into the public. And if you say, well, why don't you send them to a nursing home? Some nursing homes ain't equipped for that. If you know, you know, because that's as far as I'm going to explain it. But y'all letting the patients just run them up. You know what? Once again, this adds to my list of beef with Ronald Reagan. He should have never shut down them asylums. He should have never shut down them asylums. Okay? Because the whole administration could have filled up this, Lord. So a lot of yogurt, good yogurt without sugar in it. Then coleslaw and kimchi and all kinds of fermented vegetables. And it's really, I would say it's dramatically changed my, you know, everything. I believe that he's eating something that somebody told him was kimchi. I do. I believe that. Do I believe he's eating actual? No. I can't prove it, but I feel like those that actually eat kimchi, they just naturally can't be that damn stupid. Okay. Sorry. I just was updated as to why I was hearing sirens. Up the street there was a fatal crash. My condolences to the family of whomever passed away in Boone County today. All right, we already went over that. So update. Now we know the petition that was signed. We had to acquire the 218th signature. Now, once that gets through both houses, you know, goes to the president's desk. Y'all remember Schoolhouse Rock, and I'm only a bill. Yeah. So Trump was asked, because he was taking questions out of the Oval, It's like you don't want to answer the questions that people want to ask. Just go back into hiding. We actually like that little bit of that 7 days earlier this year where you went into hiding. Okay. Give us another Tony Braxton if you just not. Um, or you can make it permanent, allegedly. I don't know. When asked if he would sign the Epstein / Maxwell files release bill, he's like, sure. Bruh, bruh, bruh. You're not escaping this at all, especially since the British royal family is taking such decisive action. Now, could Lizzie, before she got plopped in the box, have done more? Yeah, but let's keep in mind that while incarcerated, Ghislaine Maxwell got to chit chat with the Queen, and they talked and bonded over their love of horses. Yeah, put that in your back pocket. Now remember, Trump is going after as many of his political rivals as he can. The latest on his hit list is Representative Swalwell. But let's circle back to the Comey case, okay? Okay. U.S. judge finds evidence of government misconduct in federal case against Comey. Oh, what a shock. Let me show you my shocked face. A U.S. judge on Monday found evidence of government misconduct in how a prosecutor aligned with Donald Trump secured criminal charges against former FBI Director James Comey and ordered that grand jury materials be turned over to Comey's defense team. And keep in mind, in case you forgot, this grand jury was sped through very quickly. It didn't last for even the standard minimum amount of time. There wasn't a whole lot provided. So, yeah, kind of reminiscent of what Daniel Cameron did in Louisville, Kentucky regarding the Breonna Taylor case and how he broke the law. I'm going to say it, not allegedly, broke the law in regards to what and how he presented things to the grand jury. Last week, prosecutors were ordered to produce a trove of materials from the investigation, with the court saying it was concerned that the U.S. Justice Department's position on Comey had been to indict first and investigate later. Comey is charged with lying to Congress in 2020 in a case filed days after the U.S. president appeared to urge his attorney general to prosecute the former FBI director and other perceived political enemies. He has pleaded not guilty, and his attorneys have argued that it is a vindictive prosecution brought at the direction of the Republican president and must be dismissed. Magistrate Judge William Fitzpatrick ruled on Monday that the Justice Department engaged in a disturbing pattern of profound investigative missteps on its way to indicting Comey. The federal judge directed prosecutors to produce 2 defense lawyers all grand jury materials from the case. Here's the thing. They're trying to say that 5 years ago, when someone else testified and said, yeah, I told Comey that I was, no, they said, did you talk to this news outlet? Yeah, I talked to this news outlet. And then they asked Comey, did you know this person was going to talk to a news outlet? No, I did not know that. Did you know this person had this information? Yes, I knew that they had this information, but you didn't tell them to talk to the news outlet? I did not tell them to talk to the news outlet. But you didn't think that they would do that? No, I didn't think that they would do that. Did you realize that this was illegal? I realized it was illegal. And now they're saying because a subordinate of his was essentially a whistleblower, he lied. Mm-hmm. And keep in mind, through all of these vindictive prosecutions, people have been fired, people have quit, people have refused to sign documentations. They've at the by they I mean the DOJ has at the last minute pulled in attorneys from different locales to come into court completely unknowing what the plan was, what the charges were, and had nothing put together. So if you ever wanted to know what a Biddy Hill or Three Stooges crime drama would look like, it's our current DOJ. It's our current DOJ. It is. It is. Oh. I I don't like being at this amusement park. When I was younger, I thought, it'd be great to live, you know, with the traveling fair at the amusement park. Now that Trump has turned our lives into a decrepit, rusty, should have been shut down 20 years ago amusement park. I needed to stop. Open the gates up and let us out. Okay. I mm-mm, no, it would be like, oh my god. I can't. Now, closing out with our last story of the day. Trump plans to meet with New York Mayor-elect Mamdani, says they'll work something out. What the fuck is there to work out? He's the mayor of a city, not a governor, not a new member of the administration. Trump, you still have ambassadorships to fill. You President Donald Trump indicated Sunday that he plans to meet with New York City's mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani and said they'll work something out and what could be a detente for the Republican president and Democratic political star who have cast each other as political foils. Have they, though? Have they? I cannot stand. I loathe. I know it was only a matter of time that I said TRUMP so many times, and he didn't come down here to give y'all his 2 cents. I knew it was going to happen. He has a deep-seated hatred for TRUMP. I got to get better. I spelled it this time. I know. I know that he is horrible. They know that you know too. I'm sorry. So, as always, your daily 2 cents from Puppers, because he's gonna remind y'all that the orange one ain't shit. It's all energy. But I loathe when people do this. When one person creates a problem and then you try to turn it into a 2-person ordeal. No, Trump started saying grotesque things about Mamdani. Trump waged an online war against Mamdani. Mamdani finally was like, hey, let me match your energy with facts. Mamdani he's not, oh, that's my political rival. Mayor, president, like what are they going to do to each other? Send strongly worded emails back and forth? Trump has for months slammed Mamdani, falsely labeling him as a communist and predicting the ruin of his hometown, New York, if the Democratic Socialist was elected. He also threatened to deport Mamdani, who was born in Uganda and became a naturalized American citizen, and to pull federal money from the city. So how was that both of them being political rivals to one another? But once again, what is there to work out between a mayor and Zipotes? Sending the huge bigly words. Exactly, Jess. Like, what? You know? You know. I just I can't. I cannot twist the idiot. How did I lose a whole? Oh, here it is. He will do any and everything. And here's the thing. I think that Trump truly wants to meet with Mamdani because he's looking at Mamdani's age. And in Trump's mind, Mamdani is a child, easily manipulated, And he feels like, you know what, at this point in time, I need some good press. I need somebody on my side. I can sway him because, the current mayor, Eric Adams, he did a good job cosplaying in name only as a Democrat. Fetterman, and the list goes on and on. People will do anything in the areas that they are simply for power instead of getting into politics and running a good race, a good campaign for the right things. So let me remind you all of this. A campaign is the interview process. Getting into politics, whether it's an alderman, assemblyman, council member, congressional member, VP, president, you name it. That is the job. That is the job that they are interviewing with us, the voting public, with in order to ascertain. You need to shift your thinking to that. So we can stop getting campaigns riddled with, let me tell you about my wife. Look at my husband, my great, I don't care. None of that means that you're qualified for the job or not. I don't care how well you dress. I care how well you were qualified for it. I'm wondering why I'm working with people who don't know the basics of the job. Yeah, child, you tell it. Now that we are off punishment on YouTube, not tonight, but starting fresh tomorrow night, we will get back to the series of breaking down the Kirk conspiracies. And just because within the past 12 hours, I've been sent a slew more videos and information, and I need to, one, make sure that they're not videos that I've already shared with you all, and two, verify some information, or I would start it back up tonight. But y'all know me, I'd rather be slow and careful than expedient and completely wrong or off basis. So we'll get and all of that. But at 7 p.m., we will pick back up to finish up 107 Days by Kamala Harris. And hopefully she'll stop giving me the headaches. Maybe not. I don't know. But we'll see. But as always, thank you all for watching. And be sure to put in your calendars to join us Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central for Krau's High Santathon for our good sis, the one, the only, the amazing Hot Mess Jess. Okay, and if you cannot make it, all of the information is available. Donate. We're going to get her to where she needs to be. As always, each one teach one, each one reach one. Go out and get into some good trouble. But remember, nothing that requires bail in this economy. And most importantly, it only requires bail should you be caught. Till next time, y'all.